power. It's not something you get, it's something you choose. So choose the power to perform. Introducing the new Milestone Husky series, giving you the power to achieve more, to save time, to evolve, and to have peace of mind. The new Milestone Husky series. Unleash your power to perform.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining this webinar. It's great to see so many of you joining this webinar. Today's webinar is about the innoVi integration with Milestone XProtect. So together with me is Susie Weiss from Agent Vi. Good morning, Susie.
Good morning. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Exciting to be here.
Absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, like I said, it's about the integration with XProtect and innoVi together. Susie will tell you all about the integration and the innoVi product itself, of course, and why it's so great and what we can do with it. On top of that, I would like to notice that this webinar is open for questions. So please use your GoToWebinar tool in the side panel to type in your questions, so we can answer them at the end of this session. So after the demonstration session from Susie, we will have the chance to answer all your questions. And yeah, we don't leave any questions unanswered. And if we do, if we run out of time, obviously we will get back to you after the webinar as well with a personal email. So like I said, we don't leave any questions unanswered. So with that said, Susie, the stage is yours. Welcome again.
Thank you.
I will make you a presenter, so you can start your presentation.
Fantastic.
Here we go.
Fantastic. Again, thank you, everyone, for joining. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. And as mentioned from Roy, we're going to talk a little bit about the use of Agent VI's innoVi AI platform together with Milestone XProtect. Again, for those who don't know me, my name's Susie Weiss. I'm the Regional Sales Manager for EMEA at Agent Vi. So Agent Vi, we've been making cameras smart since 2003, where we have thousands of successful deployments worldwide and across a number of sectors. A lot of those are, of course, together with Milestone, where we have a very long, successful history of providing a really powerful joint analytics and VMS solution together. We have an open architecture platform, and currently we're in our 4th product evolution, where we were one of the earliest adopters of AI video analytics technology and launched our innoVi platform already back in 2017. innoVi is here to provide a one-stop shop for all of your intelligent needs. If we take a deeper look into the engine behind innoVi and how it works to get started, now with the growth of big data, we've seen more problems arise where data becomes overwhelming, costly, and often meaningless when it's not managed effectively. innoVi's AI platform uses custom AI algorithms where we're creating meaningful data without burdening the operator with unuseful alerts. innoVi is built using precise deep learning classification models where we continuously learn the camera's environment to improve detection. You can see in the slide some examples of positive alerts, even in very challenging conditions, without the need for manual input to achieve this. At the same time, you can see examples here of how innoVi is able to drown out the noise in the field of view, which would have been extremely challenging for any pixel-based analytics or even any other current analytics in the market today. Now let's look for a moment at the 4 pillars of innoVi's architecture, really to understand how we achieve this. The first is the ease of installation and maintenance. innoVi is built as a centrally managed, easy to install and maintain system that's always up to date and future-proof. where we offer complete auto calibration. It's optimized for virtual cloud environments where we can run in the cloud or on premise with built-in cybersecurity measures, so we are GDPR compliant. Of course, we're camera agnostic, and that means we can really seamlessly integrate into any deployment that you have. As well as this, as we know that utilizing AI solutions can often be very costly when it comes to the hardware required to run them, innoVi offers one of the leading low-cost hardware per camera ratios where we don't use costly GPUs and only Intel processors. In terms of accuracy, as mentioned, we have custom-built AI algorithms and utilize extremely accurate deep learning classification models. Essentially, innoVi is not a static system, but rather a deep learning platform that grows and adapts as your intelligent needs grow. In terms of the different features that we offer, innoVi is really built to provide a solution for the whole CCTV environment and understands how to work with the needs of different sectors and different customers. If we break down what we're offering, what innoVi is doing is continuously generating rich metadata that can be used in different ways. So the first way that it's used is for real-time detection and alerts. So that really is broken down in two ways. The first is alerts, events that you know what to look for in advance. So there's our, real-time rule-based detection, such as events related to people, vehicles, and static objects. And then the second layer is our anomaly detection, which really allows the operator to make much more out of their CCTV environment for all of the cameras that they may not know what to look for in advance. So the anomaly detection learns what's usual in a field of view, and then will alert when there's something unusual, where the operator can decide if that is of interest or not of interest. Now, the second layer of analytics is our retroactive or forensic analytics, where we offer our smart search or video investigation, where you can easily search across the whole network based on events and objects of interest. Now, again, as we're only searching on that metadata and not the raw video itself, our search is extremely robust, where you can retrieve hours and hours of video events from video footage across all or any of the cameras connected to the system. And then the last layer of our retroactive output is our business intelligence, where essentially we are breaking down the data and manipulating it into statistical outputs related to people and vehicle behavior.
Can I ask a question?
Of
So
course.
I can see two major big advantages of your platform, and that is really what we see in the future is business intelligence. I think that is a crucial step compared to a few years ago, where we can actually convert the metadata into business intelligence. So customers can not only respond in events on real time, but basically also predict and also take measures based on the intelligence that your system generates. So based on the historical data, you can proactively put your measures in place, your security measures or safety measures, but also in the future, you can also monitor them and to see if the measures you've taken actually have effect on what you try to achieve, right? So there's a big gain in video analytics use cases is the business intelligence part, I think.
100%. I agree with you completely. And I think what we're seeing is that whereas once upon a time, the intelligence was mainly utilized just, let's say, in retail environments where you're looking at sort of people flow in and out of entrances or exits, or let's say on, just on roadway environments to get a better idea of what's happening, for traffic monitoring. Today, we're seeing the need for it across the board, where we're looking at a complete solution of security, safety, and then also that operational flow to really get a much better idea of what's happening in your environment and a deeper dive into those, into that information and statistics.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and on top of that, because you generate the metadata, you actually can pinpoint if you do a search or a video investigation based on item color or object type. It really makes it fast to retrieve video from the Milestone recording server.
Right.
So yeah,
which
big
is also key
advantages there.
today.
Yeah.
When a lot of people are searching, they need that information almost next to real time, and I think that's the advantage of continuously having that metadata generated in real time that's available.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Excellent. In terms of just briefly the packages that we offer, we've made it extremely simple. We have innoVi for remote guarding for those installations that really purely are focusing on protecting those sensitive areas. So looking for, movement in and out. We have innoVi for investigation, where the customer may just be looking for investigation for now. And then we have our enterprise package, which really covers all of the different features that I just mentioned. Just to take a look for a moment on how innoVi relates to some of the key sectors that we tend to work with, so we can get an idea of how this actually is enforced. The first is innoVi for smart or even safe cities, where we can see some examples on the screen of unattended objects, or let's say even vandalism detection, but really being able to transform the city into a smart and safe environment. The second, some other examples are, let's say, moving beyond the standard security and safety, looking at better operations like overflowing rubbish or trash that you can see in the video here. And obviously, social distancing has been in massive demand over the last year for obvious reasons with COVID. And of course, even moving into, perimeter protection or event investigation is often key, because it's not always possible to have real-time monitoring all the cameras. So even beyond, I think, some of the examples that we're showing today, there are many different demands that we're seeing coming out of cities on the security, safety, or, even beyond that today. The next, I think, key sector that we tend to focus on is transportation. So here we're looking at, whether it's airports or roadways, rail, or even seaports. Some examples that you can see here are, really detecting security threats or safety issues in and around airports or rail tracks, such as here we have, running in the airport or moving in restricted areas. But you can see there's some other examples of how we work in transportation environments, such as, looking at illegal parking, traffic management on highways, or let's say even alerting when someone is standing too close to the rail track. The third, say, key sector that we work with are really critical sites, which can be especially challenging to manage due to their wide distribution of sites and the mix of natural and also man-made threats to security and safety. So there's a real need to ensure 24/7 surveillance, because obviously any point of failure can be critical. And that's why analytics is key for daily management and also predicting potential threats. Now we're going to talk about the integration into Milestone XProtect, and I'll leave that to Roy, the expert.
Thank you, Susie. Yeah, what you can see here is a couple of ways on how Agent Vi innoVi is integrated into Milestone. On the first image you see here is how we integrate with events. So there's a plugin available that integrates the innoVi events into Milestone. So you can actually pinpoint on the map which camera alerted and what type of alarm has been received. And as an operator, then you can manage that alarm by put it into an investigation mode, or put it on hold, or to acknowledge the alarm when the alarm is dealt with. The second integration you can see on the right-hand side of the image. This is actually an added workspace tab in the Milestone XProtect Smart Client. And this gives you a full user interface of the innoVi product to do your forensic investigations, but also in the administrator mode, a setup mechanism so you can actually set up and determine your rules and filters for items that you're looking for or that you try to alert the system for. So those are two very important and really nice features that this integration brings, obviously. A third way of integrating, is of course how the video is pulled into innoVi. Of course, there's an option to directly pull that into to the innoVi product with the camera. But obviously, there's also the Milestone Network Bridge, and that provides you video footage for all the cameras that are integrated into the Milestone platform. You can export that real time to the innoVi platform for analytics. And I think in the next slide you will see how that is done.
Yep. We'll take first of all a look at just generally how our architecture works in terms of the processing, and then we'll look at how that relates to a setup with milestones. So innoVi essentially has a distributed architecture. So there's two layers of the processing. The first is the edge layer, which is, or we call it the analytics layer, where we do the initial metadata generation and deep learning inferencing. We're then sending that metadata only to the innoVi core, which can either be Agent Vi hosted in the cloud or customer hosted in the data center. The implications of having innoVi hosted, having an installation that's Agent Vi hosted, is that really we're working here to take all of the maintenance issues, anything that requires any sort of work with the system off the customer's hands. Yeah. And that's really the joy of it, that all of that work's being done behind the scenes. So it's something that we're really seeing a movement towards, where there's just much more ease in working that way. I was just going to say that obviously, let's, we're taking a look at this now, how this actually looks as a flow together with Milestone.
Yeah. So this is the image, how it looks in combination with Milestone. So we have the innoVi core at the bottom. We have the innoVi Edge device or installation in the black box on the right lower corner. And obviously, there's a Milestone recording server on top. Now, the video streams can be analyzed with the innoVi Edge two ways, or you take it directly from the live stream from the camera, or you use the Milestone Network Bridge from the Milestone recording server to feed the camera feeds into the innoVi Edge, which does the analytics and sends the metadata streams to the innoVi core, which could reside in the cloud or in a private cloud. So there's two options there. And because it's only metadata being sent, that part makes it also GDPR proof, because we are not processing the images in the cloud. And besides that, there's the option of the recorded video stream to be pulled from the Milestone recording server to the smart client into the innoVi integration we have in the smart client. So that's the total concept of Milestone and the innoVi integration.
Right, absolutely. And I think what's also key to mention is that anyone who's maybe worked with us previously with Savvy that has now become end of sale, it's not just an upgrade of Savvy. This is an entirely new solution, which is so much more powerful, current, and robust. And it's really, when you look at that together with what Milestone's offering, we're really creating a solution that is fantastic for any customer who needs a really powerful solution for their CCTV needs.
Absolutely. And what I forgot to mention as well, the metadata, and you see also that back in this this image, is that the metadata stream is also sent to the Milestone Smart Client, so you can see the overlay of the actual item that has been found or alerted in the system. So that's also part of the integration, obviously.
Absolutely, and we'll see that. We'll move on to a demo shortly, and so we can actually take a look at how that looks in real life.
Looking forward to it. Absolutely.
Yes. Just to mention briefly how we support our partners, our go-to-market structure. We have, in terms of pricing, we can work either as a SaaS model or we have permanent licensing, and that really depends if you're using the Agent Vi hosted version or customer hosted. We have a channel partner program where and what's nice is we through the years have really worked with a lot of the same partners together as Milestone, so there's a lot of history there and a lot of joint effort. And of course we offer our partners, you know, price incentives, pre-sale support, around the clock support after production, and of course, you know, free of charge proof of concepts for, you know, projects that may be coming up where you actually want to test innoVi in real customer environments and see how that works together with Milestone. Ultimately, you know, we're here to hold our partners' hands throughout the process to make sure that, you know, the sell is successful and then, of course, the deployment works seamlessly. Just some examples of some projects here in EMEA. I'm not going to go into too much detail as part of this webinar, but obviously we're very happy to talk to anyone individually about specific projects and discuss their experiences and how they utilized innoVi to really make their CCTV setup more of a success. And here equally some examples of customers of ours in APAC. For now, I think we'll jump to the innoVi portal within Milestone XProtect and we can take a look at how that works.
Yeah, so it's demo time now.
Demo time.
Demo time. So let's have a look at the innoVi portal. Here we go.
And here we go. We're there. So as you can see, we're looking at innoVi that's embedded in Milestone's UI, where what we're doing is essentially logging into a standard web browser. So you have full visibility immediately into the whole site, into all the different cameras and sites that are connected to the camera. It's a multi-tenant system, so of course, you know, you can easily switch between accounts and, you know, you can decide what user has access to what. What you're seeing, first of all, are the cameras that are across the system and where they're placed, you know, where they're placed on the map. So we have geospatial map display. You can see the number of events that have come in over the last day, which of course, you know, you can filter this however you want to just get a better overview. And then of course, you know, the health of the system and so on. Then if you go to the monitor, you can also see here really just again events that have been coming in across the whole system, just to get an idea of what's been happening. You can see these events as thumbnails on a grid where you can click into the events, you can look at the event, decide if this is a true or false event, and close them. And you can also look at the same events on the map, where you can very, very easily select an event, see where that event is actually happening. You can double click on that event easily from the map, and again, do the same verification process. We can also take a deeper dive to look at where these events were happening in real time. So for anyone who really needs to get a feel of what was going on and where that was happening, that's extremely easy to do. And then if we go back to our administrator, we can take a look down, you can see the left panel, where for this purpose, this is a demo account. So what we've done is really just select live webcams in city environments, in critical infrastructure environments and transportation environments to give you examples of how you can utilize our software. Now, this same demo platform is open to our partners where they can really, you know, just they can come to us and ask us for access and play around with it themselves. But if we go in and select, let's say, some of the cameras that we have, we can see here you have Jackson Hole, which is, you know, a site in the US, and we have some cameras that are related. We can go into the different cameras, take a look at the dashboard of the cameras. We can initially see the health of the system, number of events that are coming in, which of course, again, you can filter either by time frame or other ways. You can look at how the autonomous events are working in the system, and you can edit that to receive events according to whatever is of interest. So it could be unknown, it could just be people events, vehicle events, or just two-wheeled vehicle events. Our anomaly works by really having an initial training period, but then it will every 2 weeks or so have renew its training, so it's constantly learning what's happening and what's usual in the field of view. We can
Self-learning
easily add
system.
rules. Sorry, say that again?
It's a self-learning system.
Exactly, it's a self-learning system, so there's really nothing else you need to do but just have it running in the background.
Okay.
Here in the same way, as you can see, this environment, we're looking at an intersection. So what would be most interesting for them is to really detect, let's say, stopped vehicles in illegal places, or safety hazards, vehicles that, let's say, are moving in the wrong direction. They might be trying to get a better idea of statistics and traffic flow. So there's a number of ways you could utilize innoVi in this sort of environment. For now, let's take one example of what we said, which is stopped vehicles, and we could then select the rule type. We would select, in this case, any vehicle, but obviously we can be very specific. The dwelling time, severity, you can obviously put all of the events on a schedule. In some cases, it might only be relevant after hours. But in this case, we obviously want to be very precise and look at, let's say any vehicles that are stopped in the middle of the intersection, which could obviously cause a lot of problems. And so we, select the area of interest. This is not my best talent, but I think I got the area quite well. And then we very easily save that event. And that's running in the same way simultaneously to any other rule that you have running. And as you can see, it's that simple. There's no calibration required. There's no other sort of manual tweaking that you need to do. You just need to know what you're looking for here, select it, and let that run.
Yeah, and that's the biggest gain, I think, against the pixel-based analytics platforms, right?
Absolutely, no question.
Yeah.
In the same way here, you can see the events coming in from this camera on the map. Or you can see them as different, thumbnail events, which you can click into. Now, what we can do now is go to the alarm manager. You can see again some of these events coming in. If we go to the alarm manager, here we can also view all the events with the overlay. You can see here the same event that we just saw in the monitor coming in, where you can click on any of the events, obviously have all the information related in terms of the timestamp, which camera this was related to, what was the rule, and be able to manage that again through seamlessly through one application. If we just go back for a moment to innoVi, we've taken a look at the real time, so that's sort of the rule-based and also anomaly features. In the same way, we can move over just to another tab, which looks at the investigation. So of course, you can run investigation over the whole system. But for now, if we take sort of the same city environment, where obviously you can select the cameras, the same cameras on the map, or just select them through the drop-down list. Here we can search, we can do a simple search where we're just looking at, let's say, any vehicle, person, or two-wheeled vehicle as well moving in an area. We'll leave the dwell time in 1 second. We can look over, let's say, the last 12 hours, but obviously you can be very specific and run just sort of a general investigation just to get an idea of what's been going on. Now we can see there's 2,249 events that have appeared in a matter of seconds. And that's, again, testament to the fact that we're just processing the metadata and not the raw video. And that it shows you how robust it is. Of course, you can easily filter the events by saying, I'm only interested in people and car events. I want to see what's been going on. And already we've reduced the results. Somewhat. Or it could be that, in a real scenario, you would have received maybe some information of something that you want to search on. So it could be that you were aware of, a particular vehicle You don't necessarily know the size, but obviously, of course, you can be specific. You do know that the color of the vehicle was blue, and there was some suspicious activity again that happened in the last 12 hours across one or all of these cameras, where you can start breaking down your search. And you see here, we've broken down that search by over 1,000 results. Or it could even be that you heard even further information that there was, someone walking around doing something, suspicious again at the time. So in this case, again, we can break down people events by color. We understand that the person was wearing red, and we want to take a deeper look into the type of events and who these people were. So here we've really broken down these results to 35. So we've gone from many results that might have been harder to manage and honed in on particular events that could be of interest. In this case, we could obviously click into each event. We could look at sort of the reference video and then go into the actual video player, which in a deployment, you would pull this video from Milestone's recording service. So this is where you see the dual integration. And again, you can look over this event and see if this event is of interest or not. Then, of course, you can look for similar events, and you could say, okay, I see this event is coming up in a few areas. I'd like to add this to a case by either creating a new case or selecting an existing case where you name this event. So I'll create a new case and the case description, select the folder. You can make this information public to everyone in the system or keep it private. And then you can go back and obviously manage the cases and add to this investigation as you receive more and more alerts. Lastly, I just want to show you for the search, of course, you can see these results just in the same way we did in real time. You can see these events happening on the map where you can really deep dive into them, where you can either click on those events just by hovering over them and clicking into and retrieve the video of the events, where you can see the event of that person again with the overlay of the event, or you can actually take a deeper look into where those events were happening and see what was going on at the time. The last tier, as we spoke about in the presentation, obviously we've talked about the real time and then the investigation, is the reports where we're taking, let's say the information that we were gathering on the movement of people and vehicles in that same field of view or across all the cameras, even connected to the platform. You can easily export reports related to traffic and people analysis, which for now, people are using to, integrate it into their own BI tool, but we will later on be integrating our own BI dashboard into the innoVi platform. So that's a look at the system.
Really good, really nice. And I was also impressed about if you did the search on people with a red shirt, how tiny that person was in the entire field of view, and innoVi was immediately able to spot this guy with a red shirt. So it doesn't require a really big image of a certain person or a vehicle to be identified based on metadata. It's really accurate, and the results show immediately, and that's great to see.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So now it's time for questions and answers, I think. So yeah, let's have a look at the questions that came in. Susie, I will give you the presenting rights, so you can also share your screen.
Excellent. One moment. we do work on premise with customers. We understand that, you know, there are cases where that's just not possible. And in each case, we'll support with all the hardware information that's required, and anything else will really help with the design of the setup.
Yeah. So it makes sense for enterprise systems, and especially I think the ones with many branch sites. So if you're a retail chain with many stores in a country, then obviously it will make a lot of sense to have things like that on-prem.
Definitely. Well, I think the key is, you know, whether it's on premise or it's Agent Vi hosted, the joy is being able to manage it centrally. And I think that's what we're offering with innoVi, that ease to be able to see, have an overview of the entire system and all the different cameras, no matter which sites they're connected to, and being able to manage that from one central location.
Exactly. And with on top of that, with the geographical positioning of the cameras and then locations that you can offer.
Absolutely. Good. Yeah.
Another question that came in, will the configured events and rules from innoVi be automatically populated in the XProtect alarm manager or in XProtect in general?
Yeah, and that's what's great about it too. So you just have to, you know, like we saw in the demo with my bad drawing of the area. You just literally have to define an area, or in the case of Anomaly, you're not doing anything. You're just deciding which type of anomalous events you want to receive. Once that's set, that will automatically be received in the alarm manager. And of course, any information when it comes to the setup of innoVi, we have, you know, the milestone integration guide for any extra information that you need with the actual setup, but that integration's already been done.
Yeah. Okay, great. And about detection, does innoVi also support weapon and fighting detection? So behavior in that sense, and weapons?
So that's a great question. I would say when you say behavior can be a very broad thing. So I'll start with behavior, and that I think fits more into the anomaly detection. So it's you know, behavior that might be unusual. When you're being specific to something like weapons, here we fall into really custom detection models where due to the flexibility of innoVi and the ability to create new classification models by training the system with enough relevant images of the object of detection that the customer is looking for, it is possible to build custom detections based on certain objects of interest that might not be the general objects that we have in the enterprise package. So in that case, we'll work with our, it could be a particular tenders or private customers that might have specific needs, and then we'll work with them to look at, how we build new models of detection, object classification for them.
Yeah, so directly that would be possible to detect weapons, and then it would be anomaly detection in terms of behavior and fighting.
So behavior, again, we're talking generally. So it's a tricky one because behavior could mean many things. Anomaly is really designed to look at unusual events in the field of view. I think it's always good when we're talking to customers to understand what type of behaviors are interesting to them, and then it will be a lot more clear to see if that's something that's really covered by anomaly, or that might be a custom detection that we might need to look more specifically at.
Yeah, exactly. Another question that I saw coming in is about the map functionality in your platform. Is it Google Maps, by the way, that you're using there, or is it flexible?
Yes. It's Google Maps, but it is flexible. We are able to work with other maps that the customer might use. I'm not sure exactly which maps otherwise that if we have integration with already today, but it's definitely something that's flexible, and we can talk again according to the specific customer needs.
Because the question also contains if the customer doesn't have an internet access, would it be possible to set up your own map tile server?
Yes, it is possible. Don't ask me how, but I know it is possible.
Well,
but again,
as long as it's possible, that's
specifically.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, that's the most important thing, that it is possible.
Yeah.
Let's see how we're doing on time. We still have some minutes to go, so we can continue. And again, people, if we are running out of time, we'll make sure you get all the answers afterwards as well. So don't worry.
Exactly. And trust me, anything that I can't answer, there's a team of people behind me that can. So
Probably they are also
and, you know,
listening
my
in.
technical knowledge only runs so far, but obviously there's many people in the company that will be able to really work with the particular design needs that you have, or any other sort of feature requirements that you need, and really look at how we can facilitate those needs specifically.
Yeah, exactly. Another question: does Agent Vi provide the hardware required as well? Obviously, yes. I think for the innoVi Edge, for sure.
Yeah, great. But we do. You don't have to. I think that's what's also nice. So we do provide. It's like a, you know, the Edge device is like a, you know, IoT device or mini PC, and it comes preloaded with the software that you can purchase from us. And you purchase, you know, you might, depending on how many cameras, you purchase, you know, any number per site. But equally, we have customers who prefer to use their own hardware, and in that case, we'll just give them the specifications to run it.
Yeah. And another question: are there any camera recommendations about vendors and things like that?
It's a good question. Truthfully, Agent Vi is innoVi is camera agnostic. We really designed it to work seamlessly with any existing project. And even if you're designing a new project, we might, you know, be able to tell you in certain cases, maybe go with, you know, this type of camera rather than that. But we work across the board. So from our perspective, we don't mind.
No, and that's also the great thing about the combination with Milestone, because Milestone develops all the driver cameras or the camera drivers for all the vendors, and by using the network bridge, you can also feed all the video that comes in from Milestone XProtect towards the innoVi Edge. So that is also a possibility. So if your cameras are already loaded with the streams to record, because not all cameras can do multiple streams at the same time, then
That's
obviously you can use Milestone in between and feed the innoVi Edge with through the OnFIF bridge, basically.
Exactly. And it also means you don't have to use the most expensive cameras out there to get really good results with the analytics. And I think that's also key. When you're planning a system, you don't have to think, wow, I need to spend all that extra on getting, you know, the most sophisticated cameras. We don't mind. You know, whatever you're working with, you'll still get good results through the AI analytics.
Yeah, exactly. Now there's a quite technical question here. How about cybersecurity?
I love all the technical questions.
When processing in the cloud, is it VPN or IPsec? The connection that is created from the innoVi to.
Wow, that's a good question, and I don't know the answer.
Okay.
But I'm happy if whoever's asking the question would like to email me, or, you know, email sales, then I'll make sure that they have all that information.
Yeah, but we have all the questions, so we'll get back to you.
Great.
No,
so
worry.
I'll happily provide all the answers after.
Yeah, no problem. Let's see what's out there still. Is there a dedicated server required for using innoVi? Yeah, we have, of course, the Edge device that is required as a minimum on-prem, and the rest is done on the cloud.
Yep. Or alternatively, if you're running it on premise, then there's the extra hardware consideration for the core.
Yeah. And then can Anomaly detection detect slips, trips, and falls?
It can do, yes. I know that it really comes down to this. It's because the system is constantly being trained with new scenarios and images. So the more scenario or the more images that the system receives of slip and fall, the better the detection of that will be. So I know for slip and fall specifically, it's something that's still in process, just because there hasn't yet been so many scenarios of that to teach the system. But that's really all it comes down to, the training of the system. And once the system has been trained with enough images of that particular feature or object of detection, then, you know, it just gets better and better and better.
And is the system also learning by input from the operator? Because I saw during the demo you acknowledged an event as true or false. Will that work for the training mechanism in innoVi?
It does help the training mechanism. It's not entirely automatic, so it does need involvement from our R&D as well. But without doubt, that interaction with our customers is always helping to train the system, and so it learns and learns what it's looking at.
Okay, nice. What about face recognition? Do you have
Great
face
question.
recognition?
Actually, it was something I forgot to mention. We are adding facial recognition in the coming months. It will first be added as part of our forensic search, and later on also for real-time detection. So that's something that's coming later this year, and obviously we'll keep all our partners updated when that's released.
Okay. Let's see. Let's consider on-prem deployment. How many cameras can we process nowadays on a single server?
That's a
that
good
would
question.
be a pre-sales question, right?
A single server can be, it depends on the server. So I can't give you a specific answer to the question because obviously depending on the server will be the number of cameras. But we do have a standard sort of benchmark that we can send that will give anyone an idea that if they're running 200 cameras, this is pretty much what they'll need. If they're running 500 cameras, they'll already get an idea of what they need. So we do have a benchmark that we can send out.
Yeah.
And we can also send a very specific hardware spec for a specific number of cameras as well.
Mm-hmm. And this is also maybe an interesting one. Somebody's asking about Savvy is end of sales. Is there an upgrade path to Anomaly? And
yes,
is there
so
a
we call it a
benefit of doing
migration
so?
path. We call it because really you are migrating to an entirely different platform. I think there's many more differences than there are similarities between Savvy and innoVi. But absolutely, anyone who has an existing installation that has active software upgrade, we have a heavily discounted migration path to be able to transition to innoVi, because obviously we want our partners to be able to enjoy the newest technology. And now Savvy is end of sale, although we're still supporting it for any customers who have active support with us, but really we want to try and move them to innoVi as soon as possible so they can really enjoy a much newer technology.
Yeah, if you would describe the biggest difference between Savvy and innoVi in a few words, what would it be?
Okay. Look, innoVi, Savvy is running on much older technology. It's pixel-based technology that's ultimately guessing what it's looking at, as much as it did what it did in I think the best way it could have done it in the market. So it really was at the top of the game. innoVi is built using AI-powered, custom-built algorithms with deep learning object classification. So in terms of detection levels, reduce false alarms to almost minimum because it drowns out that noise in the field of view. The ability to manage everything from one central platform, the ability to scale it a lot more easily, the option to run it as a cloud-hosted service as well.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. There's so much more, but I know someone's. You said in a few words, so
Yeah. No, yeah, and
but
I think
it
also
really is. It's a much more
data.
powerful, robust, future-proof system, I guess.
Yeah. And also, I think the data that has been is generating by the AI platform, because you do the object classification, it's really easy to create statistics about counting statistics, object detection, and the object types, and how many they are, and the accuracy as well. I think
the accuracy, absolutely. You really can't compare to deep learning. It's not guessing that that's a car. It knows that's a car, even if it's the image is clouded somewhat, or there's low frame rate, or there's noise in the there's bugs or flies or snow or harsh conditions. It still understands what it's looking at because it's seen those same objects in so many different environments. It knows how to detect them, and I think that's such a key difference.
Yeah. Good. Somebody made a nice remark here. From experience, the Linux device deployment is really simple and can be run on a virtual machine. And we built and running it in less than an hour. So that's a nice statement there from somebody
These are
who's
the sort
watching.
Of questions I love. Just tell me how
yeah,
great
exactly. Exactly. So that also covers probably the next question. Can the Anomaly ads run in the VM environment? Apparently, yes.
Yes, it can.
Is there a failover version for Anomaly for on-prem?
There is, yes, there is failover. We can offer that, and it will really come into the hardware specifications. So obviously that's part of, I think, what the customer will tell us when it comes to their requirements, and then we'll offer them the hardware requirements for that.
Yeah, but I think that that's also the great thing about the nature of a cloud platform, because it's based on cloud. If you're running a cloud solution like this, the cloud's already in a failover mode by default.
Of course,
because innoVi is always on, you know. So that technology can also be deployed, obviously, on-prem. So that shouldn't be.
It can do, but I think you're right. The joy of the cloud is that's happening behind the scenes, and you know, if there's any point of failure, that will immediately be taken up somewhere else. So that you have load balancing that's naturally happening in the cloud, which the customer doesn't have to get involved with at all. And that's what makes it really nice. It's really taking away all the headache from the maintenance.
Exactly. And yeah, I can see we're almost running towards 11 o'clock. So we have 1 minute left for a last question, maybe. What about localization of the user interface? Somebody is asking. Yeah, obviously, I think you support multiple languages from your user interface.
Yes, we do. I forgot how many languages we're supporting today. It's on the portal though. But yeah, we also have the ability to support other languages as well. So we do support other languages, and we have the ability to support more.
So the big languages like English, obviously, Russian, German, Italian, French.
So I know we have the ability to. I don't know which of them we're supporting today. It's a great question. But again, I can come back with that information easily.
Let's come back to that. And is it customizable? If there's a country out there that doesn't have that language support yet, can it be easily?
Yes, if it's something important, it's customizable. Again, it would be another sort of custom feature that we would create.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Then let's call it a day for today. Thank you very much, Susie. And we made it to the end. And, we made it. I want to thank all the attendees, obviously, for joining, and your nice and good questions. There was many questions coming in, so we didn't find the time to answer them all, but we will get back to you for sure. And yeah, for the rest, keep safe. And if you have any further questions, please reach out to me or to Susie. More information, obviously, on the Agent Vi website or on the Milestone Marketplace. And looking forward to the next time.
Absolutely. Take care, everyone.
Take care. Stay safe.
Thank you for joining.
And, thanks for joining. See you soon.